Oh, great. Right as car's driving by. Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Arden, and today we are talking about Stan Lee's Superman. So, yes, I have the print edition in my hands. I picked this up a while ago to the extent that I think it was just in a bin somewhere and it looked interesting to me. I recall faintly hearing about stuff like this, although these kind of cross company issues have been done before with like Jeff Johns and such. I didn't know Stan Lee had done one and basically did a whole line of reimagined, we'll say, Justice League characters, including Superman, which we're going to be focusing on today. I kind of looked at some of the other stuff a bit, but it's mostly this issue I wanted to talk about because it's really cool as a novelty, very interesting, and very much what is advertised on the cover. Stan Lee, um, back in the day. I actually don't know when this was, so I'm going to check right now. But let's see here. Oh yeah, so 2001. Um, Reimagined Superman and basically took some of the ideas of the character, some of the basic like conceits, such as the fact that he's an alien and from another planet, which is where his strength comes from, kind of thing, and he brought over Lois Lane, but otherwise really kind of built the character from the ground up, and it's quite an interesting take. So the biggest frontmost difference is Superman is a fully grown adult before he leaves Krypton, and is basically some kind of space cop. He gets sent to Earth, battling some sort of villain, um, who I believe is. Let me see here. Yeah, Gorok, which is I think what they set up at the end too. Oh no, Dominic Dark. Okay, yeah. So he battles this villain and winds up like crashing on a rocket ship that goes to Earth, which is kind of similar, but Krypton isn't destroyed. I just wanted to make sure I had all that right in my head. But he very quickly kind of develops this sense of like doing justice, but also oh yeah, so he does come. Yeah, Gorak is like the villain. I was pretty sure. I just want to make sure he stays throughout because he fights him on Krypton, and then they both wind up on Earth. He reads about stuff in like comics and decides that if people find out he's an alien, he's going to be dissected. So he decides to like claim it's all just his suit that gives him like superpowers, and it's a patented design, as he says. The sort of thing that feels as though it would be part of a superhero's history long term. So there's little details about Spider-Man and Aunt May, and the particulars about who knows the secret identity and who doesn't, that Stan Lee established early on, and some of that stuff would stick, and other stuff would go to the wayside as the character would develop over the years. And this book has all of those traits, but just a little different for Superman and stuff. Lois Lane more tries to set herself up as his agent rather than being a journalist, but she's still there, and they do have a relationship together, that sort of thing. And that's pretty much it. There's a little bit of setup for a future battle against Dominic Dark and this mysterious Church of the Internal Empowerment. Otherwise, it's a pretty classic Superman story, but just told very differently, which I always found pretty interesting, like reading this book and then revisiting it like today for the stream. And one thing I like about it is it takes place, I guess is kind of implied to be like at least back in the day. I'm guessing kind of in the golden age of comics setting, maybe the 30s. I don't want to say that with confidence because I'm flipping through the pages and I see slightly more modern looking cars, but it's definitely meant to be more of a like throwback kind of content in terms of the architecture and stuff of the Earth cities and such. So it has that feeling of an old Superman story, just told a little differently. Now, that all being said, what this book kind of reminds me of the most is something that Steve Ditko was once talking about, where he has this really interesting series of images he did where he basically showed like, okay, this is what Spider-Man would have looked like if it was just Stan Lee and Jim and Jack Kirby. And that version of Spider-Man looks a lot more like Captain America, more of a like kind of standard superhero outfit, that kind of thing. It's nothing earth-shattering, but it just kind of looks a lot more generic compared to the slim version of Peter Parker that is basically persistent to the character design, where he is like a smaller physically superhero compared to someone like Captain America or Superman. And he's got his unique design in terms of the webbing all over his costume and just all those little choices that made Spider-Man Spider-Man. And a lot of that can be credited rightfully to Steve Ditko. I have always considered it a pretty solid argument that he's made, that he maybe not alone created Spider-Man, but was a major creative force, and without him, the character wouldn't be the same. I think that's all been a valid argument that Ditko made for years. And that's kind of what this book reminds me of like, yeah, this is a really interesting take on a superhero, and it's a cool look at Superman. However, it isn't necessarily the same feel as Superman, if that makes sense. It doesn't have that same essential quality to the character that spawned a franchise that is recognized all over the world, that kind of can evoke these emotions in people of something bigger than them and full of hope and all these, lofty Superman things that are synonymous with the character. This version of the character feels more like something Stan Lee would write on any given day. It reminds me of his 2099 book, which I think was called Ravager or something like that. And that character, he's a lot grittier, a little more rough around the edges, and I guess world-weary compared to the classic Superman, the original one. And all of that kind of gives me the impression of, yeah, this is interesting. This is a cool curiosity. I would definitely recommend this to any comic book fan because it's just so cool. It's just Stan Lee doing something like this. And then you have like John Buscema doing the artwork and just really presenting something different, like an alternate universe Superman. But that alternate universe Superman probably would be along the lines of popularity of someone like Wonder Man compared to like the Superman of our world. It's just the feeling I get. And, that's just my opinion, obviously, and my big takeaway from this, but it's not the only opinion out there. It's not the only valid way of thinking with regards to this series. It's just how I kind of came off of it a little bit. And again, not bad, nothing terrible, but not Superman in an interesting way. It's not the same as the original with design by Jerry Siegel and stuff like that, but even farther from that, the modern Superman, the really polished version that we see in like his best comics, like All-Star Superman or something like that. And that's fine, like I said, because of what this is. We don't exist in a world where there is no other version of Superman than Stan Lee's. This is an additional version, and it existing along the multiverse, and I've heard it kind of called Earth 6. I don't know how current that is with the Infinite Frontier designations or whatever DC is going for these days, but it as an idea is pretty cool. So yeah, it's not going to live up to what Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster made all those years ago, but I also think, to its credit, it never really set out to be. It's an experiment, and it's cool that that was published and stuff, that both companies are game for such things and doing little experiments in their comic book line, which is, not something that is going to be as likely in like the film industry and that sort of thing. It could happen, and I don't want to be too dismissive of it, because I'm saying that and I'm thinking of the Batman movie that came out last year, which very much did feel like a bit of a reimagining of the character, but also still not straying too far. This is made with someone who has the confidence to really try something different, and to be honest, in a weird side little publication where it's advertised as something different. It's called like Just Imagine Stan Lee's Superman, and it says right on the side here, Just Imagine Stan Lee with John Buscema creating Superman. And that's what this book is, and it feels like a worthy experiment. So if you do find this book kicking around somewhere, or if you can get it online, I would recommend checking it out and some of the other Stan Lee books, because it's pretty cool that these exist and are out there, and I would definitely recommend them. So that's about it in terms of all I had for this stream. I just thought I'd pop on after that Age of Apocalypse video premiered and have a little chat. I say this like every stream, and I was saying that before, but like I do want to kind of be more of a presence on this channel and do more things, so that includes just reviewing more random books and not being afraid to do so. And Nick Wilson, thanks for joining us in chat. No one's really said much in live chat, so I've just been sticking with my review, but it's good to see you. Wilson's been a solid supporter of this channel over time, and yeah, like I said, I do want to kind of be a more ongoing thing going forward. Yeah, but that's it for now. I think unless anyone's got anything to say in chat, I don't, like, I got a recording coming up, and in the meantime, hopefully another video like just around the corner, assuming that the rights are coming around. But yeah, thanks for that, everyone, and hanging out. I do also want to maybe put out something for like Star Wars, and so if you guys have any ideas for that, let me know. But yeah, until then, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.